Hey, what's up, guys? Earlier today, I made a video when I ran a large scale mushroom chocolate bar operation, but the big part of that was the actual cultivation of mushrooms, which I did, and then converted them into chocolate bars. So, this video, I'm going to talk about the actual process and how I actually did that because even though it's very easy to grow them, there's some details you got to worry about, okay? So, first of all, what are magic mushrooms? This type of species of them that grows in like the Gulf Coast, Mexico, Amazon, Thailand, India, more so, and it grows on usually cow shit, okay, in the wild. And when you eat those, like specifically like a gram or two of them, it can cause visual effects. You see patterns. If you close your eyes, you'll see patterns. But if you eat more than that, like your perception becomes very distorted, and your perception of reality is very abstract and abnormal. Put it that way. Some people find it enlightening. I have, to be honest, myself at some points, but as well can be very confusing and very dissociative. Yeah, I'll put dissociative of things like time and dimension and all types of things. Okay, psychedelic experience is something I think is very interesting and should be investigated more in modern society. But I'm not an advocate for it in these days because I think that I'm advocate for a healthier lifestyle of things. Okay, but I'll get right into how to actually grow them, how I did it anyway. So first of all, you need either spores or mycelium. Spores are under the cap of the mushroom. What fall? They're like microscopic. Okay, spores that fall from the caps, and then the wind takes them, and they land maybe in a cow shit because there's literally millions and millions of them under this. They're microscopic, and they go, gust of wind blows it, disperses, finds like a pile of cow shit. One or two lands on that. All I need is one or two, and all of a sudden, this network of growth happens. And the reason why I want to explain all this is just how the magnificence and beauty of how this actually happens. This mycelium grows, and mycelium is network. First of all, you need two. You need a male and a female, and those two grow, and then they go in the middle. And as soon as that mycelium meets in the middle, something called rhizomorphic growth happens, where it's just like complex network just explodes throughout the whatever medium it is. And so, talking about mediums, the medium I used was popcorn. You can use lots of things. When I bought my live mycelium, it was in rye grain, like rye. You can grow it in all types of things, bird seeds. I'm sure lots of different things. Look online for that. But anyway, I chose popcorn because it's really readily available in large amounts of volume, like Orville, Redenbacher type popcorn you buy at the store, right? To pop yourself. You don't grow it in the popcorn already popped, it's in the kernel still. So what do you do with the kernels is first you soak it overnight in like a large bucket or pot, okay? So you soak them, and then the next day you rinse them in a strainer, and then I set it in a big tarp in my like essentially living room to dry, like flat out. So you let that dry for another day, night. So now you have a bunch of dry popcorn that's rinsed, and then what I did was sterilize that in first jars. So normally you can use a pressure cooker for this, but I didn't use a pressure cooker. I just boiled water and had large jars that was filled with the popcorn, and it was in a low boil for like about 2 hours. I did it a little bit longer than maybe you can, but I just wanted to make sure. The reason for this is to sterilize the popcorn, okay? And obviously then you let it cool. And once you have that sterilized popcorn, either you can leave it in the jars and then add the mycelium to it once it's cooled, or spores to it, and it'll grow in the jars. That's what I did initially, but I then evolved to using bags, where I would just, once I sterilize a jar, I would pour it in these bags, specific bags for doing this, off the same website that I bought the live mycelium from. They give all types of supplies for growing mushrooms. So I filled bags with sterilized substrate, And then I bought the live mycelium in jars that were like this big, full of the white fuzz. Mycelium looks like cotton that's grown throughout the rye grain or whatever else. So I would take tablespoons and then dump it. First of all, you got to sterilize the tablespoon. I did it with a flame. Scooped out some mycelium rye, dumped it in the bag, shook the bag, did like 3 times, dumped it more, shook the bag, shook the bag, closed the bag, threw that in my closet, and rinse and repeat about 10 to 20 times. Well, once I started up in the operation, you do it more, okay? And once you have like a bag, first of all, then they fully colonize the bag, like it grows this huge complex network of fuzz that grows through it, okay? And you need the substrate to be the popcorn kernels to be sterilized, because if it's not, then mold would grow through it very easily, and mold would overtake the mushrooms, right? You want nothing but mushroom fuzz to grow, like mushroom mold, it looks like. And so I had full bags of that. And then once you have a bag of that, you can use 1 bag to colonize 10 to 20 bags. So it's like exponential growth. Like once you have a colony of mushrooms, you can make it expand from there like exponentially. 1 bag can colonize 10 bags, we can colonize 100 bags, we can colonize 1,000 bags very quickly, in a matter of like 2 months. So I had a bunch of colonized bags. Now, after that, you have to transport them into the fruiting chamber. So at first I was doing it in, like I said, the mason jars, and there's a puck. So you pop the puck out of a mason jar, and then I soak that for a bit, or you can spray it with sterilized water to hydrate it, because mushrooms are like 80-90% water when they grow. And you put it in the fruiting chamber. Now the fruiting chamber I used was a tent, because I did a lot of camping and like music festivals and other things. So I had an 8-person tent, and I set that up in a spare bedroom, and then I put a tarp over top of that because there's holes in the tent and things. So I enclosed this tent and put like bungees and things around it. So it was like a tent in a spare bedroom. And then you need about 80-90% humidity, and you get a humidity monitor you put on top, like in the top of the tent, hanging from it. And I added humidifiers that I got at like Goodwill or like used stores, until I got that humidity level. I think it worked out to 6 or 7, so I could get that 80% humidity, 90%. Once you get that 80 or 90% humidity, I set up these racks that were like shoe racks essentially. They weren't too high; they were like this high, but there was like 3 levels, okay? And just like a metal kind of wire type of racks. The only other thing you need, so I put the substrate on that. First of all, the pucks. Then eventually, I eventually moved to bags, which were much more higher volume. I was able to get way better volume out of those bags. So the only other thing you need is a light, and I just used like a straight up light lamp thing that, again, I got at like the Salvation Army store, or like store like that. And you put it on top, and then you have that set to a timer that's 12 hours on, 12 hours off. And it's not like plants where you need a light that's providing light for chlorophyll growth to grow the plant. The only reason fungi need light is just as an indicator that that's the direction they need to grow. Because if you don't have that light, they'll grow really fat and small. But if you have a light up top, they'll try to reach, and then like the top will form and then expand. Okay, it'll expand. It'll top will form like this, like a ball, and then there's a veil, and that veil breaks, and then it expands, and then it'll expand like over top. You don't want that. You want to pick it when the veil breaks, essentially. Okay, that's the time. Now I grew 3 different strains. I grew Golden Teachers, very classic strain, B+, which are known for being bigger bodies, very fat ones, and then Amazonian strains. they're all cousins. They're all pretty much the same kind of mushroom. You'll all get fucked up. But each one had its own kind of characteristics. Anyway, so I had 3 strains that I grew, and I started off with just growing like every flush, you call it. Every time you have to, it's all timing. So by the time that you have things that are in the incubation chambers growing the mycelium, you transport them out to the fruiting chamber. So you have a constant supply of things you bring to the fruiting chamber. And once you go in the fruiting chamber, you can get flushes very quick. You probably provide the right humidity, everything, the settings. It's very quick. So it's very easy to grow a large volume of mushroom. Not just magic mushrooms, mushrooms in general. You want to grow shiitakes, you want to grow everything. I can show you how to do that because I grew also other various strains. But I was cubensis, so psilocybe cubensis was the strain I grew most. Large volumes of it. So essentially what you do to grow large volumes is you have an incubation area and then you have the fruiting area. Okay. So the incubation area is where the start of the process. So you provide all of this substrate, which is the material needed for growth, which for me was popcorn kernels. So you have to treat all these popcorn kernels, sterilize them, and have that all treated, ready to go. Yeah, I had that like backed up, ready to go. Because once you sterilize something, you have it in jars and things, you put it in a closet, and you can use that for like 2 years after. Okay? It's sterilized. There's no bacteria, nothing growing in that. And then when you need it, you draw upon that, add the mycelium, and then when you have mycelium, you add that, like again, I added some, shook it, added a little more, shook it, added a little more, shook it, threw it in the closet. Wait a few weeks, 3 weeks. That whole shit is colonized. Once that's colonized, open the bag, throw it in the fruiting chamber, you're getting like huge flushes of a quarter pound to a half pound in each bag. Well, I had like 8 to 12 bags going at a time, more at some point in these 10. So what you do next is you pick it. You can get 2 to 3 flushes. That's the other thing. Once you pick the shroom, then more shrooms will grow, but it won't be at the same volume. But you can still get 1 or 2 more reasonable ones. Be honest, when it comes to the third one, it's almost like, even though I could get some, I already had more coming along the way, so I just got rid of all that shit, to be honest, most of the time. It's just waste of space. I got more coming that would have huge more flushes. It's like, dude, I could probably find pictures, but it's like, you have a bag like this, and it's growing at the top. I had shrooms that were like, each shroom was like that big with the top. It's like that big, the mushrooms, man. At least, some of them were huge, man. Some each, okay, wet, they were probably like 2 ounces or something. Dried, maybe 14 gram shrooms. Like, ridiculous. And they were all gnarly, twisted, and things. Now, some of you might not understand that or like think I'm fucked for doing that, and I agree. It's kind of crazy, but I thought it was beautiful. That's why I was doing it. You know, this is natural. Mushrooms are nature. They've been here, especially this species, millions of years long before humans. Okay, they've been here since the beginning of time. There's evidence that mushrooms even predate like lots of things. Okay, like it's the reason why shit works in this cosmos, and potentially are extraterrestrial. Like, a little spore can survive in space and would be like transported by an asteroid, come to Earth, and be here, and then hits the right environment and grows like mind-blowing shit. And there's even evidence that there's a symbiotic relationship with not just plants but fucking like mammals and things. Okay, so I think magic mushrooms are something that is very special, but I'm also not here trying to advocate for it because it's not something I don't even want to do. Like, there's literally a store in my town. I don't know if it's legal or not, but they sell them. They sell shrooms, And I can order them online if I wanted. I can order ants probably right now. I'd probably talk to my friend. He'd probably get them too. But I have no desire to do this anymore, or even grow them. Like I could grow them. I have the space to do it and things. I don't want to do that. But I want to explain how I did. And um, yeah, in my last video I explained that we eventually had I had more than I could even deal with at some points. Just ridiculous amounts of shrooms. I filled these bins that I got from Walmart. I had like bins like this, like full of them. And then we made chocolate bars out of them. That was my check out my last video. That's why I explained everything how I did that. It hasn't got many views, but whatever. I understand. It's called "When I Ran a Large Magic Mushroom Chocolate Bar Operation." What a YouTube title. That's a clickbait title. Some guys say, not really. It's just what it is. What happened. I'm sharing all my stories and share my information on what I did. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think about that. What's your view on shrooms? You know, and no judgment. Like I was a supporter of it. I grew them before, but now I'm not a big fan of them at all. I don't want to do them. I don't recommend them to anybody. Even I'll be that guy right now. Okay. So thanks for watching. Love y'all and have a great night.